This is the impressive Blackhawk helicopter you have probably never heard about, and that is because of its sad and tragic end, which you are about to discover. At the height of the Vietnam War, the United States military urgently needed a new high-speed, heavily armed attack helicopter that could deliver devastating firepower while also providing support to the Hueys. The latest prototype of the Sikorsky Aircraft Corporation caught the attention of the United States Army, and now you will see why. The S-67 was ideal for achieving victory in the Vietnam War, but it arrived too late. However, this helicopter was unique in its design, with enormous capabilities ranging from firepower to maneuverability. The United States Army demanded a heavily armed helicopter that could travel at great speed and be capable of defeating Soviet armor. What they got was a high-speed helicopter, heavily armed for direct aerial support, but also versatile enough for other tasks, such as high-speed rescue, troop or cargo transport, surveillance, and even anti-submarine warfare. For attack missions, the S-67 had terrifying firepower capabilities. It could carry up to 7,000 pounds of various weapons and ammunition. The weapons could be configured in different combinations depending on the mission's needs. Under the cockpit, there was a removable turret that could be equipped with a 7.62mm minigun, a 20mm 3-barrel rotary or single-barrel cannon, or a 40mm grenade launcher. On the 4 hardpoints under the wings, it could carry 2 auxiliary fuel tanks to increase its range up to 16 tow missiles, or 8 rocket pods, making a total of 152 2.75-inch rockets. Using the auxiliary fuel tanks, the S-67 could fly 600 miles at high speed, if needed, for missions deep into enemy territory, such as insertions or extractions of troops or medical evacuations. Now, when you hear about its capabilities, you will wonder why they didn't make thousands of them instantly, but wait until the end. Although it was not originally designed to carry a crew beyond the pilot and gunner, later variants could accommodate up to 6 fully equipped soldiers. The S-67 had a wingspan of 27 feet 4 inches and a rotor diameter of 62 feet. Its fuselage was 64 feet 2 inches long. The S-67 was a blend of existing components and new design concepts, resulting in a cutting-edge helicopter weapon system that was cost-effective and reduced technical risks. It boasted high performance, easy maintenance, and rapid availability. One of the standout features of the S-67 was its narrow fuselage with a 2-man cockpit, measuring just 3 feet 10 inches wide. This streamlined design aimed to maximize the helicopter's speed. Behind the cockpit, there was a compartment that could hold extra equipment or personnel. Additionally, the slender fuselage improved survivability by presenting a smaller target to enemy forces. The pilot and gunner sat in tandem beneath a single canopy, each operating standard cyclic and collective flight controls. In terms of speed, the S-67 could reach 213 miles per hour, while its maximum cruising speed was 201 miles per hour, with a normal cruise speed of 167 miles per hour. The helicopter could ascend at a rate of 2,000 feet per minute and had an operational ceiling of 20,000 feet. It could hover close to the ground at up to 9,700 feet and without ground effect at up to 6,500 feet. Its maximum range on internal fuel was 325 miles, but in combat situations, it averaged around 220 miles. The S-67 weighed 12,525 pounds when empty, had a typical operational weight of 18,500 pounds, and a maximum takeoff weight of 22,050 pounds. The helicopter's swept-back blade tips allowed it to reach speeds of Mach 0.9 without any negative effects on performance. A large vertical fin provided increased directional stability, a novel feature for helicopters at the time. Another key innovation was that once the helicopter reached 46 miles per hour, the fin began to take over the role of the torque-compensating tail rotor. In the event of a tail rotor malfunction, the S-67 could still safely fly and land. The wings were detachable, as they weren't necessary for missions involving troop transport or external loads. However, these wings introduced a unique function. The S-67 was the first helicopter with air brakes. Each wing featured 3 air brakes. When deployed, the air brakes could slow the helicopter twice as fast as without them, giving the S-67 unmatched agility in combat. These brakes could be engaged during combat to boost target acquisition and accuracy. They could fully open or close within 3 seconds, increasing deceleration by 100% and enhancing the helicopter's dive angle performance by 40%. Construction of the S-67 began on February 15, 1970, progressing quickly. The helicopter made its first flight on August 20, 1970, and flight testing proved it to be highly responsive, maneuverable, smooth, and quiet. Powered by 2 General Electric T-58 GE5 turbine engines delivering 1,500 horsepower each, S-67 could perform advanced aerial maneuvers such as loops, rolls, and split S-turns, although only right-hand rolls were conducted. The aircraft featured retractable front double main wheels housed in sponsons on the fuselage sides and a non-retractable tail wheel at the rear. On December 14, 1970, test pilots Kurt Cannon and Byron Graham set a new absolute speed record, averaging 216.8 miles per hour over a 1.86-mile course. A few days later, on December 19th, they broke another record, averaging 220.8 miles per hour over a 15 to 25-kilometer course. The helicopter's sleek, narrow fuselage and advanced swept-back blade tips allowed it to achieve such high speeds without any adverse effects on performance. In 1971, the S-67 embarked on a 3,500-mile tour across 12 United States military bases, where it was flown on 147 demonstration flights, completing 155 rolls and 140 split S-turns. An additional 2 hardpoints were added for even more weapons or equipment. Between May and June 1972, the S-67 underwent a series of flight evaluations for the United States Army. Despite its impressive performance, the Army found some shortcomings and ultimately chose not to award contracts to either Sikorsky or Bell, opting instead to develop what would become the AH-64 Apache. After failing to secure interest from the United States military, Sikorsky offered the S-67 for export, conducting a 2-month tour of Europe and the Middle East in late 1972. Despite its success in these demonstrations, no orders were received. However, the Blackhawk was soon to meet its catastrophic end. The helicopter's final tour began in the summer of 1974, when the S-67 was shipped to the United Kingdom to perform at the Farnborough Air Show. Tragically, on September 1, 1974, during a press preview flight, the S-67 was destroyed after failing to recover from a second right-hand roll at low altitude. The accident resulted in the death of co-pilot Stu Craig, while pilot Kurt Cannon succumbed to his injuries 9 days later. Investigations revealed that the crash might have been survivable had the helicopter been equipped with 5-point harnesses instead of the 4-point ones. At the time of the accident, the S-67 had accumulated 598.7 flight hours. Following the crash, Sikorsky decided to end the S-67 program. However, the innovative swept-tip rotor blades developed for the S-67 were adapted for the Sikorsky S-70, UH-60, Blackhawk and other helicopters. The speed record set by the S-67 in 1970 stood for 8 years until the Soviet Mil-A-10 broke it in September 1978, reaching a speed of 228.9 miles per hour.